read like months ago, and I can't think of what it was.
Yeah,
he was
wait
kicking
till I
someone's ass.
wait till I share this fact, because it'll probably jar something loose in your memory there.
Dude.
There we go. All right, we are back from the PSA break, and we are here with the Midpoint Marvelous Facts. This is a 2-character feature for you guys. The first one is going to be Damien Hellstorm today. Second one will be the Constrictor. So Damien Hellstorm, he was created by Gary Friedrich and Jim Mooney. His first appearance was back in Ghost Rider Volume 2, Number 1, September 1973. So they were even constantly relaunching Ghost Rider way back then.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Ghost Rider's had a rocky existence. He comes in and out every once in a while. And Damien Hellstorm is the son of Satan. He is possessed by supernatural powers derived from his dark soul, a demonic counterpart to his human soul, which physically manifested itself in the pentagram-shaped birthmark on his chest. So if you ever see that kind of burning through the suit he tends to wear, that's his dark soul. That's where he generates his power from.
He was in Bendis's New Avengers, I think, too.
Who, Ghost Rider?
No, Hellstorm.
Hellstorm. Here's a crazy thing about Hellstorm. He possesses a chariot that's pulled by 3 demonic horses, Hecate, Amon, and Set.
Crazy.
So I hope we get to see that.
Oh yeah, I want to see that.
That would be cool. I'd like to see them ride that to take somebody on. But yeah, he's got a pretty crazy backstory. He's kind of gone from full-on bad guy to full-on good guy. Kind of turned his back on his Satan father, the opposite of his sister, who kind of like adopted her Satan father's method and ways. So it should be interesting when they finally go to recruit his sister for the book, because I don't think they usually get along well. She's usually on her dad's side, and he's kind of against her dad.
Here it is. I'm looking at it now. He was part of the New Avengers in Bendis' second run, the 34-issue run that led to AVX.
Okay. See, I had no idea about that. Yeah, the second guy, unless you got anything else to add for Damien Hellstorm there.
No, I don't got anything.
Yeah, we got Constrictor, and he was the cliffhanger at the end of... Fuck, what book did we do first? Luke Cage. So yeah,
Iron
he was
Fist.
the dude. Yeah, us. Yeah, Iron Fist. There we go.
Close though.
Yeah, so he was the character that broke into Iron Fist's apartment, apparently stole his book that he needs. And he was created by Len Wein, R.I.P., Sal Buscema, and Ernie Chan, with a first appearance all the way back in Incredible Hulk number 212 back in 1977. And it says the appearance of his death was in Captain America Sam Wilson number 5, 2016.
Oh, okay. That's
so
why.
Did he
you
die,
were right.
or did he fake death, or maybe we'll get an answer in the Iron Fist series. I'm not sure.
I think he did. I'm gonna check right now, because I think I might have that trade paperback right here.
Yeah. So while Trevitt flips through that, I got some facts to share with you guys about the Constrictor, who's an occasional member of the Serpent Society. I don't know if that helps you out at all. He's a former S.H.I.E.L.D. agent sent undercover in the Constrictor guise and villain outfit. He had a nervous breakdown while undercover and in that guise, and ended up kind of just fully turning to a life of crime after that. So never went back to S.H.I.E.L.D. He occasionally does kind of do some good things once in a while, but he kind of is just a merc for the most parts. He's a human with a snake-themed costume and with a pair of wrist-mounted electrified metal coils. Eventually his arms are fully like cyborg-type arms with adamantium tentacles. So yeah, that's why I mentioned earlier, like I'm not really sure adamantium, if his tentacles are adamantium, which I would guess they kind of are. Cuts through especially 7 layers of other adamantium. I'm not really sure the rules of all the Marvel metals. If anyone's hip on that shit, drop us a line, let us know. But yeah, a couple other things is he did have a fiance at one point, Rachel Lighton, who's also a former S.H.I.E.L.D. agent turned merc. So yeah, what'd you find out? You find out anything? Did he die or fake death?
Yeah, I just found it right here. I'm looking at it right now. You said Captain America Sam Wilson #5, right?
Yeah.
All right, Paul Renard did the art. I'm looking at it right now. There he is.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the whole Serpent Society's in this. Oh, this is when Sam Wilson turned into a werewolf. I remember this.
Oh, I remember the cover to that issue. Okay, I know I know
Yeah.
exactly which one you're talking about now. Yeah.
Right, and I think he gets tossed out the window.
His adamantium arms, or he must have landed on his adamantium arms or something in fake death. I don't really know how he got out of that one, but
it must have happened in issue #6, because at the end of issue #5, the whole entire Serpent Society, which is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13 people, are standing around Werewolf Cap and the new Spanish Kid Falcon, laying on the ground as Cap is all fucked up. And
yeah,
I can see him right
I
there.
don't know. I don't really know how accurate these wikis are. I pull the information from because I've like a few characters I'm very informed about. I kind of spot a few things and I'm like, I don't know if that's really right. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes. So
I don't remember
maybe
him
he
dying.
just took bad injuries and they wrote it down as a death. I'm not sure, but maybe we'll have to write the Marvel wiki and fix that.
Because I don't remember him dying. I read it a long time ago though.
Yeah,
so
I know. 2016 March in comic years is like basically it might as well have happened 20 years ago.
Especially when you read $60
$60
a month.
I know. I don't read 60 a month, and I couldn't even imagine. But yeah, we're gonna transition to book segment #2. It's gonna kick things off with X-Men Gold #13 and the whole intro to Mojo verse. Trevitt's going to lead us through that one, and then I'm going to wrap things up with a quick summary of Venomverse 5 for you guys. That's book section 2 here coming at you. You ready to go?
Ready to go. All right. So we got writer Mark Guggenheim, artist Mike Mayhew, color Rain Berardo, who seems to do the color for a lot of X-Men books, and oh god, what was it? What is it again?
Virtual calligraphy.
Virtual calligraphy is Corey Pettit with a amazing cover by Arthur Adams.
Yeah, I like the cover a lot.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of Nick. He kind of reminds me of Nick Bradshaw a little, like those Venomverse covers. Like Nick Bradshaw and Arthur Adams kind of have. Although Arthur Adams is like a classic artist, you know, one of the greats. But Nick Bradshaw kind of has that style. I think he was heavily influenced by Arthur Adams. So the solicit is Mojo Worldwide Part 1. Mojo, the demented creature obsessed with melding deadly television shows with reality, has made Earth his focus, and it's going to take combined might of 2 X-Men teams to fight back. But when threats from the past are thrown at the team, how will these teams react? With Sentinels and Brood and Bad Memories attacking at every opportunity, will Kitty and Jean and their teams be able to save Manhattan? Or is this the trick that finally boosts Mojo's ratings?
Mojo has job security, I guess. That's for sure. I always feel like every time we check on Mojo, he's like, I need a new show.
Yeah, he's fucking crazy. I think Mike Mayhew does a good job of making him look disgusting and creepy.
Yeah, especially in the beginning, I think so. I think towards the end, he gets kind of over the top goofy looking. Like
the red, like on that bottom panel on the first page, like the red in his eyes, the skin looks fucking disgusting. So we start off this issue in the Mojo verse, where Mojo is looking at a new script and he loves it. He says it's exactly what they need to reverse their ratings decline. Major Domo asks if he likes it so much, why did he kill the writer? And Mojo says that he guesses he get carried away. Besides, everybody knows that the script is just a suggestion. The real action is in the execution. He just makes a joke out of it with the dead writer on the floor with all in a puddle of blood. So then we turn the page and we're at yet another baseball game with the X-Men, but this time
look at where Kitty's standing as the umpire. She's about to get drilled with a bat.
Yeah, right in the fucking side of the head. And I went because I'm like, you know, this obsession with baseball. I've seen them play baseball before, but it is like a big thing that the X-Men seem to love to do with each other is play baseball from like the 70s all the way to now. So it's like, but
I know it was big in the Claremont books. They did it a lot.
Yeah. But Mark Guggenheim seems to like do it way too
Every
much.
issue. Yeah, I know.
It's like every other issue they're playing a fucking game of baseball. So, and Logan's never playing, so he's just sitting on the stands all the time. But but this one's a special occasion because the blue teams come to visit from Madripoor. Jimmy and Logan are in the stands, and they're getting better acquainted as much as an alternate universe father and son can. Which
I hate when they say that because that's not like your father at all. Like it's
no,
also a different universe fucking Wolverine. Like
yeah.
let's talk about
I mean,
that.
technically it's the same guy, same like DNA and whatnot, but it's not the same guy at all. Like it's the same person, just not the same. It's such a confusing fucking thing to say, like, because it's alternate universe. It's like, so Jeannie tells me you're my son. It is like, seems like, he's like from another universe. It's like, seems like, and he's like, and he's like, but it's funny because it shows how much of like each other they are, no matter what universe you're in. They're both like silent, like strong silent types, like a John Wayne kind of guy. So Jean tells Kitty that this was a nice idea, and Kitty agrees. And after all, it's been a while since they've seen each other, and Kitty takes a minute to apologize for Beline, the girl that they kind of saved from Bastion/Master Mold in issue 3 of X-Men Blue, and was murdered by the new Executioner in X-Men Gold #7. So Kitty feels guilty that she couldn't protect her, and Jean tells her that it wasn't her fault, and you can't protect everyone. And then it's weird. Like I was just looking at the panel, and it looks like Kitty is staring at me.
So I know that's the. I like showed these panels to my girlfriend. I'm like, doesn't this look creepy to you for some reason? Like, she looks really creepy. Like she is looking at you.
Yeah,
giving you like the side eye kind of.
She really does. She looks like she's staring at me right now. It's creeping me the fuck out. But
yeah.
I like the shadowing, like when you see like in the next page in the top panel on the left, like Kitty and Jean are standing next to each other, and like you can see like when Jean's hair is hanging down, the shadow of her hair across her face, like that's some good detail. But so they're standing there, they're playing baseball, and then all of a sudden a portal opens up in the sky, and these obelisks, this the best word I could come up with for what they are, these obelisks starts descending down on Manhattan, and Jean turns to her team and tells Warren to fly surveillance and Bobby to create an ice perimeter around them. Kitty assesses the situation and calls all the X-Men to action, splitting them up into teams. Kitty, Bloodstorm, Rachel, and Scott to Lexington, Storm, Logan, Warren to Times Square, Kurt, Hank, and Peter and Jimmy to Washington Square Park. The X-Kids are a little bummed because they're not being called to action, and Kitty ends up sending the rest of them to do crowd control, all the little X-Men children. Jean looks a little aggravated right here. Because she's like, all right, everybody follow my lead, and like her eyebrows raised, like she looks mad.
I see her now. Yeah,
like,
I know.
What the fuck? You trying to tell my people?
Because she's the leader of the blue team, and she's
the blue
getting
team.
her toes stepped on here or whatever.
She's like, who do you think you are, bitch? But I guess when they first came to this universe, or this time period rather, Kitty was like their mentor, aka their Professor X. So, she still has that like older sister thing over them, but it looks like it's annoying Jean. So Kitty's team arrives at the obelisk, and they're trying to figure out what it is, and they have no clue. But whatever it is, it's sure as fuck alien and high tech. Rachel works some psychic mojo and makes sure all the civilians go home, and then sets up a psychic link so all the teams can communicate. We meet up with the rest of the teams, breaks different panels. Hank at Washington Square Park notices that they're cool to the touch. Logan in Times Square starts to see some activity. Next thing they know, they're all trapped in a force field, and Jean asks if anyone else feels like they blundered into a trap, and they did, big time. Yep. Yeah. Scott, I gotta say, on the page, Rachel looks kind of hot in that bottom right panel. I mean, it looks like a real person almost.
Yeah, I know the art goes from like really cartoony in some spots to super real in other spots.
Super real, yeah, it does. So Scott tries to blast through it. He can't. Kitty tries to phase through it. Not happening. Nightcrawler can't teleport through it. Jimmy's claws can't even slice through it. Colossus tries to punch it because that's all he can really do. So they're fucked. You know, they're not getting out. And
Fastball specials. He can do fastball specials too.
that's it. Fastball specials. And he just got his ability back to turn metal because he was having problems with that. I mean, he's had problems with that for a long time from Cable in the X-Force
goes
by
back and forth.
yeah. I remember Cable in the X-Force by Hopeless and LaRocca. He had to wear like a special thing so he could fully turn to metal because like half of his body would turn to metal randomly, and then. But Gene plays Captain Obvious and says the shield is keyed to their powers. Not that anybody didn't figure that out because none of them work, and that whatever going on is deliberate. No shit. So so then all of a sudden the scenery starts to change as well as their clothes, like they've been transported somewhere else. Kitty's team seems to be in this dystopian future that Rachel comes from, and Logan's team is in Asgard, but Logan says Asgard, but it's not Asgard. It's anybody who reads Thor knows it's Jotunheim, where the Frost Giants live.
Yeah.
And they even fight Frost Giants later. So it's not, you know, it's a different realm entirely. I know Logan's just being generalizing, like this is some Asgard shit, but they're not on Asgard.
Yeah, just stating probably the most I don't know, the most popular of the like
of the realms
that somebody can just, you know, picking the book up for the first time, be like, oh, okay, they're where Thor is or where Thor fights, you know?
Yeah, because a lot of stuff in Thor books, especially when Loki's in it, a lot of shit happens in Jotunheim. So Kitty is worried about Rachel because she's getting a little on edge, seeing where she comes from. You know, like God, that's where she got the scars on her face.
Yeah.
And she was used as a bloodhound to hunt mutants. And not only that, but around issue number 5, she pushed her powers to the limits, and she feels like something's broken, and she's been having these flashes of where she is right now. So she's double freaked out. One, because she's back where she doesn't want to fucking be, where she came from. I mean, she even goes through the trouble. Like, if you notice, if you ever read any issue of X-Men with her or X-Men Gold or anything she's in and you don't see the scars on her face, that's because she makes everybody else not see the scars.
Yeah.
Because she's so self-conscious about them and so fucking damaged by what she went through. I mean, they used to keep her on a chain and make her crawl on all fours and hunt down. It's so fucked up. So she's freaked out, and then the Sentinels show up, and they all start to realize they're in different places in X-Men history. Peter knows that they're in Inferno from the classic crossover between X-Factor and whatnot, and Uncanny X-Men. Logan makes a funny joke about someone trying to kill them with nostalgia.
Yeah, I know.
So then we go
we get like some fourth wall breaking moments here where Mojo even mentions like legacy.
Yeah. The art in some of these panels, like you said, some are cartoony, but like mostly Rachel. Like when you see Rachel, it just looks surreal. Rachel and Kitty look the most surreal out of everybody. Like Mayhew has a crush on them or something.
Yeah, but, he does the girls a lot better.
He really does. He does the girls really well. Mojo is watching all these events unfold in his producer's room with Major Domo. He says after hearing Logan's quip that it's not, like you said, it's not nostalgia, it's legacy. A little on the nose, but I'll forgive it. Because it's Guggenheim, you know. It's the X-Men's greatest hits, and the greatest part of these greatest hits is they hit back. Quote from Mojo. Mojo is broadcasting to the whole world, telling them that this is not just a show; it's the greatest show of all time. And then and everybody's watching all over the world. The little X kids, people at Yankee Stadium, like everybody sees it. Any TV, anywhere, any screen is seeing Mojo explaining what's going on. They're gonna watch the X-Men in a battle royale. So then the battle begins, and everyone is fighting for their lives. Kitty's team is fighting Sentinels. Logan's team is fighting Frost Giants. Mojo tells the people to place their bets because it's going to be uncanny. And then we get a to be continued. And the next issue is going to be next week in X-Men Blue number 13 with art by Jorge Molina. I'm excited because I've been waiting for Jorge Molina to come back for a long time, since issue 3, motherfucker. So I can't wait. So
yeah, its art should be a little more consistent from him in the next issue of the crossover, and it should be probably you know, now that the setup's all out of the way, it should be a little more interesting overall. But what'd you think as far as buy, borrow, or forget goes?
So I actually wrote notes for the thoughts. I like this issue enough for a series that I've been pretty hard on and haven't really liked at all for the most part. And I've had I've had a lot of problems with the art on this book, even though normally I like most of the artists that work on it, but the biweekly schedule has really worn people down and hurt it. Uh, so I thought it was great for the most part. I like Mike Mayhew. He's normally an amazing artist. His art is a little down from what I'm used to from him. But like we said, sometimes it looks a little cartoony, sometimes it looks surreal. But overall, it's better than you're going to get in most comic books anyway. Logan, sometimes his head would look square sometimes,
Yeah, he looked
like really
he
weird
looked different
square.
in like every panel almost.
In every panel, like there was one panel where he looked really good and he had like a more rounded head, but like when he's sitting on the bleachers talking to Jimmy, he has like this very squared off head that just looked fucking weird. And Colossus just looked
Oh yeah, Colossus looked horrible this issue. He didn't have one good panel.
No, he didn't. I mean, he looked awful through the whole issue, but when he turned to metal, he looked horrendously awful. So it was a little goofy in a few panels.
I think Mojo stories are just inherently goofy, though. I think,
yeah, they do.
When he gets to talking, like when Mojo comes into the story and he does the talking bits of it when he's not being just a murderous psychopath, he's really goofy.
I actually went back and I went to Wikipedia and I went through every issue of a Mojo story that was ever published in X-Men. I got all the X-Men Uncanny X-Men annuals. I got the Ann Nocenti, Arthur Adams long shot 6-issue series, the Wolverine stories, the regular X-Men stories by Jim Lee and Scott Lobdell. I went through them all just to see if it measures up to a regular Mojo story, and it pretty much does. It's as crazy and somewhat goofy and just kind of gross a little bit when it comes to Mojo that it normally is. So the story was all set up, but what can you expect from a first issue in a new story arc?
Yeah,
I like that they're being thrown into classic X-Men stories to battle out their history. It's pretty cool. Rachel having to deal with her hellish past and the psychological effects that seems to be having on her is pretty interesting. All in all, it was a decent issue, decent art, good bones to the story. But it's Guggenheim, so who knows what's going to happen. I mean, he did a decent job setting it up, but Cullen Bunn's been doing a good job with Blue, so I think he can carry the ball for him for the next issue. I think
Bunn gets to end it though too, which makes me a little more confident in how it'll wrap up.
So Guggenheim sets it up, Bunn knocks it down with the second issue, and then Guggenheim gets the third issue, and then Bunn gets to finish it, which is I like the order that they chose. And if they play their cards right, it could be a really fun action-packed crossover. It's not exactly a good jumping on point for a new reader, but the beginning paragraph will help out. And if you're a longtime X-Men fan, I think you'll like it. So because I am, it's a buy for me.
Yeah, I haven't been a huge fan of. I like the Blue book a lot better than the Gold book. Like I feel like every issue, well, not every issue, but every like Gold is set up for mini arcs, and like every arc is 2 or 3 issues long, and I don't feel like a lot of their stories get enough time to develop.
They don't.
At least they're making some callbacks to the things that have happened, so I do like that. But yeah, like you said, that they call back to them, but they don't do a good job of telling, like as a jumping on point for new readers, what they were or what they're referencing. So as far as that goes, you can just bypass it and not worry about it and just keep reading the current story, or it depends how you feel about that. It didn't bother me because I knew what they were talking about, really. So other than a little bit of uneven art in some spots, I didn't hate this story overall, and it was one of Guggenheim's better efforts, but it's still only a borrow for me. I do want to read the Blue issue though, because I think the Blue issue I will enjoy a lot more, and like you said, Jorge Molina's art, that's just more of my style of comic book art I enjoy than what this one was set up as. Although I do like when Mojo looked good. He looked really good as when he wasn't looking goofy. He definitely pays, this artist pays much more attention to the female characters than he does the male characters. You
He
can tell,
really
and I
does.
don't know if it's who was the artist. Did you say?
Mike Mayhew.
Okay, so
Now,
it's obviously a male. So
and if you've ever seen a Mike Mayhew issue, you know that this is a step. Even though it looks better than like most artists we get to see at Marvel, it's a big step down from what he normally does because he's like an Alex Ross type of guy. So
yeah.
Did
Yeah, I
you
had a
see?
feeling they like decided like I don't really know because like I feel like this was a story they wanted to tell and was planned, but I feel like they moved it up in the release schedule almost because like he didn't have enough time to draw it all the way he wanted to, and like made certain panels more emphasis than the other ones, and
Yeah, it's really
like
weird
that
because
kind of
they've been like showing like previews of it and like for a long time. So I'm like, if he had the time, like it's just
right.
weird that it doesn't look how it normally looks. Or maybe he felt like
Yeah,
he couldn't do that style because it wouldn't match up
he
with Jorge Molina's, so he tried his best to like match a more
yeah.
you know
I sometimes I don't like when good artists try to match someone else's
me
style. I would
neither.
just rather
Did you
have them do their own thing.
did you see the premiere pages when you get to the last page of the premiere pages? Like Kitty looks like so fucked up. It's
Yeah.
Bagley. Mark Bagley did it, but she looks fucking weird. I'm looking at it right now, and she just looks so fucking weird. Like it's
I
good
did.
that
I just closed the book, but I had that panel up for probably like 3 minutes while we were talking. I was
oof,
just looking at it. I couldn't tell what was off, but yeah, like some of them do look a little weird there too.
her eyes are gigantic. Like
Yeah,
definitely
I
not
know.
Bagley's best.
Yeah, it's and the X-Men are hard to give or do justice on like a 4 premiere page style type summary
Yeah,
story. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like that's
especially in a
they're not
rush.
really the characters that lend themselves to sum up their story in 4 pages. Um, but yeah, we're gonna wrap up X-Men Gold. So we got one buy, one borrow for that one. We don't got any forgets yet tonight. That's a positive thing. And we're gonna wrap this bad boy up with Venomverse #5 and the conclusion to that story. We saw Deadpool dragging in Carnage to the Poison's headquarters at the end of last issue. And we have the same team we've had on all the previous 4 issues, with Cullen Bunn writing it, Ivan Coelho as the artist, Matt Iacchi as color artist, and Joe Carmanga from VC's Virtual Calligraphy as the letterer. So yeah, they're torturing Carnage to start this issue, and trying to get this Carnage symbiote off of him so they can trap it and learn how it works and try to use it to their advantage. See Doctor Doom, poison version of Doctor Doom, leading this charge. And then all of a sudden we get our answer that we were kind of wondering at the end of last issue, is that what side is Deadpool really on? So while Carnage is screaming because he's getting blasted with Sonics, Deadpool takes the screams as an opportunity to get the drop on the other poisons in the room and start cutting them up. So he stabs Cap first, frees Carnage, and they take on the rest of what looks like Rhino and Goblin in the room, fighting everybody off.
Did you see what else? Like on the top panel, it's in the yellow, and then the middle, he's like the white, and then when you go back down to the bottom left panel, it's in yellow again. Like that's just weird.
The Deadpool talking.
Yeah. I was like, I don't know if it's
Yeah,
intentional
I
or
do see what you're saying here. I think it. No, I can't say that because I wanted to say, well, maybe he's talking to one of the poisons here and still trying to play off being bad, but
yeah.
I don't think
That's
so.
what I was.
I
That's
think,
what I was
yeah,
thinking
they
for
made a
too.
mistake because he is talking in yellow in 2 panels, and then in the middle he's not.
That's weird.
But yeah, anyway, so we see the Deadpool and Carnage team start taking on a group of poisons and check in on our heroes who have invaded this base, Ant-Man and Rocket Raccoon, and they're trying to get access to this terminal to basically rig this space station, whatever the hell they're on, and turn it into a giant bomb. They have those little tiny creature poisons in the room, so they're trying to be real careful with how they enter because these are the ones that, take your symbiote and turn you into a bad guy, basically. Venom gathers his team, and they all kind of decide to separate and look for Doctor Strange, one group, while the other group sets the bomb into place, and gets some protectors in case poisons come busting in. We check back in on the Deadpool fight, and him and Carnage are mixing it up. They're pretty much taking care of the poisons in the room. Carnage obviously can slice through them, and Deadpool's a skilled fighter, so he don't have much problems. Meanwhile, we see Spider-Woman and Wolverine taking on poisons that have already invaded the control room that Rocket Raccoon's trying to hijack here. We just see fights going on all over, as then Venom and Black Panther and X-23 are fighting the magic people in Doctor Strange's cell. And before they can start talking and casting spells, Wolverine, looks like, does a lot of the head cutting anyway.
Is that the guy with his head on fire? Who is that? Is that
I don't know. I'm so bad with the magic characters. Like, I know one is Scarlet Witch, one is Enchantress. I don't know who the purple one is, and I don't know who the head on fire is.
But the head on fire, like Hellstorm and his sister, their heads are on light on fire, and
it might be Hellstorm.
I think it might be his sister, because it's a female, and she's got the horns, and Satana has horns. It just kind of lines
so maybe it's Hellstorm and that's Satana.
Yeah.
That could be who it is. But yeah, anyway, they start fighting. They pretty much handle all those magic characters and end up freeing Doctor Strange. He puts them, the magic characters. I guess they're not dead. I thought they cut their heads off, but they mention how they heal. So I don't know how you kill them or when they heal. They've never really made that clear. This was kind of a twist.
You know what else is weird is that Carnage, with the past issues, he was the only person who could cut through them, and now Wolverine can cut through them.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe these Venoms can only hurt them and can't kill them, because the Hulk pops up later, and I thought they killed him too, remember?
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, people are kind of dealt with for now, and they're trying to free Doctor Strange, get him out of there. They're telling him, use some of your magic. He's trying to save it up and store his levels back up, when Poison Spider-Man enters the room, and him and Venom are going to start duking it out. So we just got a whole bunch of fights going on all over the place, basically, at this point in time. We got the fight in Doctor Strange's room. We got the fight in the Rocket Raccoon room. And everybody's just, I don't know, shit's hitting the fan. People are dying. Ant-Man falls for the stupid trick that he should know better, touches the poison, and he starts getting eaten before he gets... Who ends up killing him? I forget.
X-23.
Yeah, she just cuts him up so he doesn't turn into a poison. And then Rocket ends up setting this bomb when he finally gets control for 10 seconds. So they're trying to urge Doctor Strange on into casting, whatever energy he has left into a spell, so he can send everybody home before this bomb goes off, or they're all going to die. Now, the only thing is, they don't send, because he does start transporting people home. It doesn't look like he gets Carnage and Deadpool out of there.
I don't think he does. I was thinking the same thing too. I was like, "What the fuck, Carnage?" Because it's Carnage from the regular 616 too, right? And I'm like,
yeah. As far as I know, they haven't stated differently. So Doctor Strange, he starts zapping all the symbiote characters home off to their own universes. Venom ends up in his apartment. He's pissed off. He's like, "Yep, this is my house. I got no food in the fridge." So he's gonna go get some burgers. His landlord's looking for him. He owes some rent, and then it's kind of the end. It tells you it's the end, but if you go past the letters page, you get another tease. And it looks like Doctor Doom returning back to the original space base, since theirs is destroyed. And he is bending the knee to the real big bad poison leader, who is Thanos, and looks like his kids, right?
Well, no, he's got
just a bunch of cosmic people there. I see the Guardians in the bottom right.
I see the Guardians. I see Gladiator. I see a Super Skrull. Just a little bit of every group.
Oh yeah, that is Super Skrull. Yeah, just a bunch of other poisons. So it looks like what we thought was the end of this series is like possibly just a tease for another series, and maybe this Venom Inc. stuff coming up. There's some Poison X stuff coming up, so we'll have to see where this possibly picks up. To be honest with you, overall, I would say, even though I liked the entire series, this was probably my least favorite issue.
Mine too.
Just based on, like, I didn't like how it ended, I guess is some of my problem with it. There was no problems with the art or the dialogue. All that was still fine. I just didn't really like the story decisions. I think this would have been a perfect little series to wrap up in 5 issues and not continue going on and on and on down the line. Like, Doctor Doom was a good enough big bad. You don't need to take it to the real cosmic level. You know what I'm saying? Just another cosmic threat. So I was a little disappointed with how it wrapped up, but I don't know. I still think this would be a decent, fun trade to check out. You know, it's not really necessary to continue reading on. I don't know how high my interest level is in continuing to read a story related to all this poison and venom or stuff. But overall, for the series, I would recommend it as a buy. But for this issue individually, I would rate it as a borrow. How about you?
I'm with you.
Think? Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, I was just really disappointed when by the time I finished it, I was like, that's how we're going to wrap it up. I really was giving this story thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up for 4 issues. And then
it was such a bummer. It was such a bummer. Yeah. And I hated the Ant-Man thing where he's like, Cassie, what are you doing here? When, like, they've stressed the whole entire series, it was stressed not to fall for that shit. And he was even one of the people who was like, don't fall for it. And here he is like, oh, honey, I haven't seen you. Oh, it hurts. It hurts. Like, but yeah, overall, I really did like the series, and it had great art all the way through. Like, you can tell they really planned it out, and they had it in the can before they even started releasing it. But then it just kind of started to come apart at the wheels at the end. But
yeah, I know. And I was a little. I'm definitely disappointed they leave you hanging on Carnage. Like, I really enjoyed Carnage for the issues that he was in. I don't just want to not know what happened to him. You know what I'm saying? He was kind of like the hero in the fucking series.
He really was.
And they just leave you hanging on him.
And Doctor Strange too. What the fuck happens to Doctor Strange? You have no idea what happens to him. He gets left behind.
I'm sure they'll pick up those threads in the future.
And that was the thing, right? He gets left behind, and the whole point of saving him was so the poisons couldn't get out of that universe, or they couldn't bring any more symbiotes to that universe. So it's like,
they didn't want them to get their hands on Doctor Strange to turn the Sorcerer Supreme into a poison, because that would be fucking bad news for everybody. They could get anywhere they wanted,
and it happened anyway.
Yeah, so we'll see what I don't know.
He died.
This storyline has in the future. I think he said if he used this energy, he was probably going to die. So
because the explosion too, because it blew up. So he died. Yeah. Everybody in the building died. And
anyone in there except Dr. Doom got out, and who he sent home. So we'll see. But yeah, a little disappointing. We're gonna wrap things up for the evening with the sign out segment here. I just got the top 5 for September to recap for you guys, and we'll sign out that way. Obviously, number 1 overall for all comic books last month was Marvel Legacy. They didn't release actual figures yet. I just got picked out the top 5 Marvel books from the top 100 list. Number 2 was actually Venomverse number 1, so that kicked off that series. It was number 3 overall out of the top 100. And then we go all the way down to number 11, which was 3 overall for Marvel Captain Phasma, number 1. And then Star Wars 36 was number 4 for Marvel. That was 13 overall. And then Secret Empire Omega was number 5 for Marvel, and that was 14 overall.
Oh,
so that was the top 5 books for Marvel for the month. Yeah, so that's where we're at there. I like to throw those out every once in a while. I think we've been keeping you updated on that since July. There were no Generations titles in the top 5 for Marvel. A little surprising because they got, I think they had 3 last month in their top 5. And this month was like kind of their big ones, the Captain America one and the Spider-Man one. So some of the earlier ones sold better than those ones, I think. I don't know. I didn't see the actual numbers yet, so we'll have to wait and see. And then we'll keep you updated on what legacy titles start hitting. I don't know, popular sales numbers, I guess. So I'm interested to see if any of them pick up steam with the new covers and everything and all that. So yeah, that's the sign out segment for the day, for episode 23. You got any final news, notes, anything like that before we sign on out here?
Nah, I got nothing.
All right, we're gonna recap the books for Legacy next week that we're gonna bring to you guys. We're gonna do Amazing Spider-Man. That's gonna kick all the way up to number 789. It's gonna be Peter and his adventures back at the Daily Bugle, I guess. So we'll see what's cooking there. Defenders kicks off its first Legacy issue at number 6. Looks like Deadpool's going to join the show for possibly an issue or more. Speaking of Deadpool, third book we're going to bring you guys, Despicable Deadpool Legacy Edition, number 287. And then we're going to bring you the second number 1 of Legacy, and that is Falcon. He gets his own titled book, No More Captain in America. Sam Rogers.
Sam Wilson.
Sam Wilson. God damn it. I always fuck that up. He's just plain old Sam Wilson Falcon again. So we're going to see how that book is.
Can't wait to see
we're going to bring you guys.
What happened at the end of the last issue of Defenders. Black Cat got shot in the gut. So I want to see if she survived.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I have been. I think I've read like 3 issues of that. I'm pretty updated on that book. So we did 5, didn't we, or did we do 4?
I think we did 4.
I got one to catch up on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got one to catch up on then.
Crazy ending.
Yeah, so that's what I missed. So yeah, we're gonna end things. You guys know how to get a hold of us. It's at Madness Marvel 1 on Twitter, at Marvel Madness 0 at gmail.com. But yeah, personal accounts are on those pages. You can find us there. We're there all week. Peace out, guys. We're signing out. Party's over. Talk to you next week for another Legacy edition of the Marvel Madness Comics Podcast. Peace out.
Peace.